Morning. Morning.
Hello.
All right, welcome to Waffle Time.
I was hoping people had forgotten that.
No way, man. That's what everyone calls it now. It's actually become Waffle Time.
I know, it's quite annoying.
So yeah, we're back after technical errors and human errors.
Human errors.
You got
human
sick.
sicknesses.
Yeah. He was pretty bad. You sounded like a Dalek for a few days there.
I kind of felt like a Dalek, to be honest. I'm pretty sure I could only move my neck like a Dalek as well.
Does everyone know what a Dalek is?
I'd imagine so. They're pretty cool.
If you don't, Doctor Who, Daleks, Google that. That's what he sounded like.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been away, but we've been working on stuff, busy in the background and all that sort of thing.
Getting ready for a competition.
Getting ready for the competition this weekend, which is going to be interesting because this is now the first time we've had a track down for 2 solid months.
Yep.
We're trying a bit of a different approach to the circuit and the amount of time people have to learn it.
Well, we're trying a different approach to quite a few things, aren't we?
Yeah, and we've also changed, because we've been putting hinters out on the line for the course.
Yep.
And we've changed that a couple of times over the month. So in theory, people should have a varied bag of lines that they can kind of work from,
and a few things that they can call on.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully this will.
That's assuming the people that are competing have driven on this track before, because I know there's 1 or 2 that haven't yet.
That's true. That's true. So that could
home course advantage.
Completely throw it up in the air. But yeah, that's something we've been doing and trying, and just seeing if it makes a difference. Really, seeing if it kind of brings the standard up. One of the things we talked about with some of the Japanese guys was the length of time that they have a course laid out, which I think in Japan is different because they have, in one city you've got a whole bunch of circuits to go to do whatever type of driving you like, whereas here we've only got a small handful. So initially we changed every month, and now there's more circuits out there. We can change every 2 months, but the Japanese guys leave a course down for 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
So it is physically our circuit. That's the circuit you go and run. It's like going and run at Mayhan or Nico or Silverstone or Lyndon, it's or Zandvoort, because I know that one too.
Yeah, I don't.
It's in Holland.
I know where it is.
All right.
Never driven it.
I did a funny thing there once, because I might as well go into it's waffle time, so I might as well waffle.
I might as well log in.
Julian Smith from Garage D down in Watford was supposed to go and do a demo in Zandvoort, and I was there, and it happened that he couldn't go, and he was changing my gearbox because we've blown another gearbox. So he said, "Well, do you want to go and do this demo in Zandvoort?" And I was like, "Yeah, no problem. I'll go and do that." Thinking like, "Oh, it'll just be like round the car park, blah blah blah. It'll be dead easy." So anyway, he said, "Yeah, it's some like BP event, like for BP Fuel." I was like, "Okay." So I went over there, and turned out it was BP Grandmasters. There were 250,000 people there. So I'm like terrified, But I went out with all the Dutch guys, and oddly enough, it was a BP event, and Kumo gave us a load of smoke tires, the coloured smoke tires, the reds, yeah. And which don't use them. They make everything pink, basically. But we went out on the track. So there's me, there's Paul Glasstrom, there's Olaf, there's Leonard Wanders out. So there's a bunch of all these big Dutch names, a couple of German drivers like Remo Nissen and all those guys. Everyone goes out, and we're all going nuts and doing burnouts and all that sort of thing. Anyway, we sort of do a finale to it, which was we all stopped on the straight, and they're doing donuts, and I'm doing a massive burnout, popping flames everywhere and all this. I'm thinking, yeah, this is awesome. Like I was getting quite into it. Anyway, Olaf did such a big rolling burnout down the straight after that, because we were going in the wrong way for the pits.
Yeah.
So you'd U-turn, and basically because he did such a massive burnout, he like just blocked my view completely. So I basically, instead of doing a U-turn into the pits and ending the event, I just did another lap. So I held the whole event up for like, a couple of minutes while I'm just drifting around on my own. And there's all these people like, yeah, why is he still going? It's like I come from England, and when I come in and my tyres are going because they're mullered. So that was pretty good. That was embarrassing. Yeah.
Anyway, where were we?
Competitions
and
events. That was an event. It's sort of on On the
That's loose. Yeah, so basically we've changed things up with the way we're running the competition. We've changed quite a lot about the competition, to be perfectly honest.
From when you get here.
Yeah.
So as soon as you come through the door,
Yep.
things are going to be different.
Things are going to be different.
So, I mean, if we start with...
Yeah, we're now going to be doing, you now need to book in, essentially, when you arrive.
Well, check in.
Yeah,
you book in online, and then you check in when you get here.
You need to check in when you get here, and we'll have a quick look at your car for a couple of reasons. Firstly, to do a very, very quick and basic scrutineering, just to make sure everyone's using the right tyres, that kind of thing. But also, we're going to start booking a bit of info on our systems, essentially, about your chassis, so we can know which chassis are being used, which servos are being used, purely for out of interest. See if there's one servo that's ace, if there's one transmitter that's most common.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I say, we're going to be doing a bit of scrutineering as well, just making sure that you haven't got leaky shocks, that you haven't got a filthy chassis that needs to be cleaned, that you haven't got additive all over your tyres from being at another track. And
but also the benefit of looking at what electrics and what chassis people are using is it allows us to know, obviously, if it's not an MST chassis, it allows us to work out, what bits we need to have in to support you guys. So that is a benefit in itself, and also in terms of motors and ESCs.
Definitely.
What do you need?
Yeah.
Like, what do we need?
We're also we have trophies to give out this weekend for the winners of last year.
Yeah, we do. We got some big ass trophies.
Yes, some big ass trophies, and we have not going to say trophies.
Don't tell them what they are.
We have little mementos to take away for the people who come first.
They're better than mementos.
Well, you said don't tell them, so
basically,
don't tell them, but I'm going to tell you.
Well, imagine like D1 when you go and you win an event and you get to put the D1 sticker on your car.
Yeah.
So everyone can say, "Oh, he won that round."
Or he's won a bunch of rounds.
Or he's won a bunch of rounds. It's akin to that.
Kind of, yeah, but no stickers.
No stickers.
No stickers. So yeah, we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there.
That's what I want to say, but no.
I think we'll wait. Maybe put a photo up later on Instagram or Facebook.
Put it. I want to enter our own competitions just so I can have them or one.
We need to stop talking, or we're going to give it away. And you said you're not going to give it away. So,
okay.
Next,
give it away now. Sorry, that. Just
judging's going to be different this year. Last year we were.
I've written there less harsh.
I was going to say we were very harsh last year, but we kind of set out from the start of the year with a mindset with the judging, which we were going to be very critical to help push people on. And with a bit of hindsight and looking back over the year, we think it was a bit fun sapping at times. So we're going to be a little bit easier going. But because we started in the championship that way, we wanted to be consistent until the end of the championship to make sure that
we decided at the beginning of last year we would get progressively harsher with the judging, and
our expectations would go up.
That's yeah, exactly. But also that's to do with our learning curves as judges as well. I don't think RC is something you can just turn up and judge in terms of technique without really, having an in-depth knowledge of it. So that's something that needed to progress with everybody and for ourselves as well.
Definitely.
So, it's all, we're all still learners here in Europe, really.
Yes.
Which
I can now join the small group of people that have been to Japan and go, I can say I've seen it at a higher level now. Which,
I know where it goes.
I think that may be a random delivery term. But so yeah, what else is going on with?
I'll go and check that. Shall I?
Well, what else is going on with the?
It's right there.
What else is going on with the judging?
I don't know. You should probably mention that.
I'm trying to think what else is happening. So yeah, we've got a couple of different criteria that we're going to be announcing tomorrow. We're being very open, I think, about how we're going to be working. We're going to be much more transparent this year. So we're going to be giving out feedback on scores and things like that live. And it's going to be something where actually the plan is for us to have scores on display. So we will see how that goes. We've got a few technical things to sort out, but hopefully we'll be able to have total transparency which is what I was just talking about, Christina.
I didn't hear anything.
No.
I was signing a box and then the delivery man needed a wee, so I'd let him use the toilet.
Fair enough.
He doesn't forget shake.
Essentially, I was just saying about how we're being more transparent. And people will know their scores as it happens, effectively.
If I get any more transparent.
God.
But yeah, definitely. But did you mention the?
No, not specifically, but yeah, go for it.
Well, we're going to attempt. We're still working on it to make it so you guys can view the scores live.
Yeah.
Not online as yet.
I didn't mention that part yet. I was going to wait until I actually had it up and running before we mentioned that part.
I know. But I think it's worth it. We're good. You know, at the end of the day, we're trying to do new stuff. We're always trying to improve and add new things in here. So yeah, we're gonna try and be more transparent with the judging and make it so you can actually see what we're doing as judges.
Yeah, and keep tabs on what's happening. I
As
think
it
there
happens.
was probably a few times last year where people didn't realise the final was just about to start and they're sat there chatting away.
Yeah.
Not paying attention because they thought it was one of the other battles and that kind of thing. And I think it's better that people.
You should pay attention for every battle.
You learn from watching competition. That's the one thing I learned. Because you can learn from other people's mistakes when they're battling.
Well, it's just good manners as well, you know.
Yeah, maybe I'm just a bit more competitive than I realised. But to me, you can learn as much about watching somebody else battle as you can from your own.
Oh yeah, of course. That is a little more competitive of you than I initially.
Triple class. We're going to be doing triple class again this year for both the CS and rear-wheel drive, but it's going to remain a fun thing without serious prizes or anything.
Does that mean we can call it tripod class?
No.
Okay.
No. So yeah, triple class is just going to stay a fun thing. There's no major prizes or trophies or anything like that. It's just something we enjoy doing.
Yeah.
It's always fun and it makes people drive in a different way.
Well, competition should be fun. You know, once it starts getting pressured and crazy, like, you know, people's tension goes up and, you know, like people get frustrated very easily and things like that. Especially, you know, if your car's not working or not driving there you want, it just drives you nuts and you can get more and more worked up about it because you want to do well, but then you end up just having a bad day because you spit your dummy out.
Yeah, definitely. So, we've got a lot of new guys competing this year. There's quite a few competing this weekend that I'm aware of, which is kind of cool. I think it's going to be fun. Looking forward to it.
I know some of the international guys are planning on coming back over as well.
Definitely.
So.
I know. Well, I never like to say until they've actually booked their tickets, but there's definitely at least a handful that are coming over for round 2.
Definitely at least a very tiny number. That's like there's definitely some.
I know there's at least 5 coming for round 2.
We've had an international visitor already.
Mr.
Mr. Jens.
Yeah,
Jens.
He has actually left a comment saying, I think something along the lines of, we've missed 2 weeks because we've missed the Jens.
Yeah, that's it. We're in recovery from
his visit
ordeal.
Yeah.
So what else? Yeah. So competition weekend. We're gonna have obviously. You've done all the times, have you? Or?
No, not yet.
Okay, so we're open at 10 o'clock in the morning as usual.
On Saturday
and
Sunday for both classes.
And Sunday for both classes. Saturday, we will be starting the driver's briefing and practice at 3 o'clock.
Yep.
You will have an hour's practice before we start the qualifying. We will literally go straight
You've skipped a point already, actually. One of the very important thing that's different this year is only competitors can practice.
In the morning.
Yes. Essentially, until the competition is finished, only competitors can drive on track. So if you're coming down to have fun and have a drive, you need to wait until the competition is finished. So it's going to be an evening thing on Saturday.
Yeah.
And on Sunday, there is no practice for anyone who isn't a competitor.
Exactly. So in terms of the scheduling of the day,
yes.
The competition, if you want to be in it, you need to be here for 3 o'clock at the latest.
Very latest.
Or, you know, sort of 2:30 really. And then after 6 o'clock, if we have space, give us a call if you're planning on coming down to make sure we've got space, and you'll be able to come and pay cash on the door to run the evening session, which will be from 6 till 10, and that will be £10.
Okay.
As usual.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's not what we agreed, but okay.
That's what I wrote down.
Yeah. No.
Call to book.
But you missed, you've added stuff, but never mind. We'll sort that out. We'll announce any changes. I think that's going to be as it is, but we'll sort that out.
Okay.
We expect the competition to finish on Saturday between 6 and 7-ish, maybe. It sort of depends at the speed in which it goes. I'm expecting this year's competitions to be a bit more efficient than they were last year, and maybe not take as much time.
Well, it'll be kind of as soon as the practice is finished, you literally change your battery and be back on track.
Yes.
So kind of a bit preemptive, and as soon as that's finished, 10 minutes and you'll be back on track.
We're going to expect people to be ready to qualify when it's their turn to qualify.
Yeah.
So we'll be calling people up a car or two in advance to make sure that their car has a battery and is on track, and we're not waiting 3 or 4 minutes for them to get going. So we'll see how it goes. We're open to tweaking things a little bit this year if they're not working as we expected, but it's I think it should be okay. Should work pretty well.
That's pretty much everything on the comp, really.
Is it?
In terms of, we've
yes, it is. Yeah,
we've done a bit of everything there. So moving on.
So what else is new?
New stuff. Well, if you can see behind me, some of this has changed.
You may not notice a difference if you're not used to staring at things, but for people that end up, for us, when we're constantly looking at this all day, this is very different to us.
Yeah,
it's still just parts hanging behind us, but we've rearranged.
They're now organised into groups. So, if you've got an MS, there's a bunch of stuff for you there, and then that's FXX, and then that's XXX in that general direction. And basically just waving at your head now.
Yeah.
And then we've got CS kits and gears all the way behind me.
Like a weatherman.
We've got what's above my head? Oh, this is all universal arms and knuckles and bumpers and spur gears and things. And then we've got
the big thing you can't see on camera.
Yes, you can see. I'll make it happen.
All over here, we now have more stuff to do.
Is this going to be way too close?
Possibly. There you go. But what's funny is you can't see where this is going. Up a bit. That way a bit. Yeah, essentially we have loads of wheels and stuff. That's all good. Back now.
Back down here. Is that
way a bit? There we go. That'll be fine.
Okay. And as it was rotating, you may have noticed, we've got the bodies and things like that over there as well. So
yeah, we've got a whole bunch of stuff.
We've expandimated the shop.
Yes.
And made it so more stuff's out and it's easier to access the parts and see parts that basically there's a bunch of parts that you probably wouldn't know we had unless you saw them and go, what's this part?
Yeah,
I've not seen this before.
Unfortunately, we're a bit limited with space and kind of always have been. So there's often been cases where there's been 10 different things on one pit.
Yeah.
And so you'll have only seen the front one because you can only see it from in front.
But this is also phase 1 of many
phase 2
things.
This is phase 1.2 actually. Yeah, I'd say
phase
a small
1.
expansion.
Yeah,
and we've got lots of plans.
So we're trying.
Yeah, it's very good.
What else have we got?
Essentially, if you can't see something you want, just ask us. But you should be able to see more of what you want.
Exactly.
That's
what else do we have?
It boils down to.
We got a TV. Got a big TV.
We've got another TV.
So now on evenings we are playing RC Drift and full-size Drift DVDs, which we've been collecting.
It's located down in the pits. So when you're in the car, you can watch a DVD.
Yep.
Which is cool. We've got a bunch of old cool DVDs. You've got a huge option.
Well, full option, JDM option, Drift Tengoku, all the good ones.
All the good stuff.
And we've got a bunch of Pro RC DVDs
which are very good to watch.
Produced by Kazama. Might as well give them a plug, seeing as we're playing these DVDs down here. But yeah, they're very good and very helpful to watch in terms of technique.
Yep.
And it's a little, it's nice to just have something that's a bit high quality than watching YouTube. And something that's a little more in depth than just clips. You get to see.
The only negative is it's in Japanese.
That's what's the problem?
Learn Japanese.
日本語わからないですか?
But yeah, it should be pretty cool. I think it works quite nicely.
Yeah,
we had some cool DVDs on the other night. And
I have to be honest. I keep getting distracted and watching it because this bit's cool. So obviously, I've
I think
seen
it's
them.
we used to have the DVDs on all the time, but kind of haven't that much lately. So I've
It's
forgotten
because
about that.
we ended up on the playing them on the touchscreen for the till, and you can't really do that because we need to use
I
the
need to turn it
till.
off all the time.
I can just stop watching that because I need to sell someone a
look away
drink.
while I
or
put
something.
somebody's details on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's removed that issue. So yeah, that's what we've been up to in here. Course has had a bit of a refurbishment. Some of the tape lines have been refreshed and just
Yeah, we've got
tweaked
a
ever so
whole load of
slightly.
stock that's coming as well. We're kind of fully stocked on Tamiya paints at the moment, and fully stocked on OMG again, which is always good. OMG was a bit of a funny one because RC OMG closed for quite a long time for Chinese New Year, so we had to get stock a little bit earlier than we normally
We
would.
have literally got a mountain of
Yes,
OMG stuff.
again.
A literal mountain.
And yeah, it's pretty good. So everything's in stock, all the colours, all the servo options, all the motor options, all the combos.
Maybe one day we should do an office tour and just show everybody the ridiculous pile of parts.
That mean I have to tidy up.
Yeah, also I mean at the moment, the problem at the moment is we can't get in the office. There's just too much stuff in the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
That needs sorting today.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anywho, what else is new? You did this.
My D-light's back up and running, which is kind of cool.
So what happened?
I broke a drive shaft. This is my RER hybrid.
Twin servo.
Which I twin servoed.
With
the help of Dr. Katsu.
Dr. Katsu from Tetsuya,
which is kind of funny. It was this was all a bit of an impulse, really, wasn't it? It was a bit like I drove Dr. Katsu's, quite enjoyed it. Bearing in mind, I think it was the first time I'd driven on that, driven at Tetsuya. So his car was set up for the track, whereas mine wasn't. I got a little bit carried away. Mizunaga told me. Mizunaga told me they had one in stock, and I was like, "Ooh, I could buy that." And then he did me a special price, so I thought, "Oh, I'll buy that." And
then tell everyone what happened when you bought that, because that was pretty special for me. Because you intended fully to just, I'll just slap it together. It'll be running tomorrow.
Oh God, yeah.
And 2 weeks later, it's like,
I mean,
he's still trying to make it work.
I underestimated how little free time I'd have, and the only free time I had was at 2 a.m. in a hotel room when I had to be up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yes, I'll build it. Like I got it, and then a few days later, we're in quite a big hotel room. Like we each had a fairly big room. I was like, right, there's a desk. I'll get the RER built. And I got like, I don't know, 10 steps in, and was just like, I've got to go to bed. If I don't go to bed, I'm going to be knackered tomorrow.
Story is intense, isn't it?
But it's the lack of free time, but also the awareness that I could sit and build it at any track that we go to, but then I'm not getting to drive at that track that I've come around the world to drive on.
Yeah.
And so yeah, this didn't end up getting finished till I was home, unfortunately. But it was nearly finished when I was in Japan, and Dr. Katsu kind of suggested that I twin servo it like his, and I was like, well, okay. So
whatever you say.
Had a spare servo with me, so I frantically went around. Fortunately, Tetsuya had a load of the stuff I needed in stock at the shop, but then there was a few bits I had to go and find elsewhere. But Dr. Katsu helped me and basically drilled the holes and used his chassis as a template and stuff for me, which made it very easy because it shifted everything into a nice position where it drives ace. But when I got it back, I drove it for about 20 minutes and the drive shaft broke, which is pretty disappointing.
Apparently, that's it has been an issue with some of them.
Yeah, an issue is probably exaggerating a little bit, but there are a few people that have had the same problem. Not many. There's plenty of people that haven't had that problem, but I tried to buy some spares, couldn't find them in stock anywhere. Was struggling a little bit, and then eventually I sent an email to D-Like, and they just posted me some replacements for free, which was quite nice of them. But
that is very nice of them. That is good customer service.
I should have done it earlier, but to be honest, I was too busy to.
Well, you don't expect companies just to go, oh yeah, sure, here, have some.
Yeah. It's it seems to be something they're aware of as an issue. So
and
how is it, and that's nice of them.
For me, the interesting thing, because obviously, I've had a go of that chassis, and I've had a go of some of the Japanese guys' chassis. But the thing I haven't played around with is the twin servo, and how is having adjustable Ackerman on the fly?
It's nice, but not that. It's quite complex
to set up
and get even and get accurate. It's not as easy as I thought it would be, to be perfectly honest, on on the Samurai. I thought
Yeah.
how I thought it was done isn't how it's done. So actually, you have to adjust it in 2 different menus. So you're adjusting left in one menu and right in another menu.
Which is probably quite annoying.
It is when they're just slightly differently as well. So
Mm.
it's not just a case of copying the settings. But it's okay. I wouldn't do it again on another chassis. I don't think it's cool and it's nice. It's not that important. I wouldn't recommend it to everyone. I'm glad I've done it. I'm glad I understand how it works.
Yeah.
But if I was honest, I wouldn't do it again. I don't think. I'm not fussed for somebody to bring out a twin servo based chassis when you need 2 servos or anything like that. Like,
It's a bit of a hassle.
it's a bit of a hassle. It's cool, and it's just extra things to set up and extra things to go wrong, essentially.
That's fair enough.
If I strip this down and rebuild it, it'll probably go back to single servo at any point. Like I'm not fussed to keep this twin servo.
And have you run it rear wheel drive yet?
No, I don't
Yes.
intend to yet.
The other new thing that's happened to me is I have had a go at Mark Bennett's.
You've had your mind blown.
Wow. rmx-d is for me the best rear wheel drive chassis.
Yeah.
That there is currently.
That I've driven.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and that's having experience of a lot of chassis now.
I think the other thing is you can't leave off his Mark's very good at setting up a chassis.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
his chassis
It is
well
kind of
set
his
up.
job. So, but yeah, the rmx-d is amazing, amazing for rear wheel drive. 4-wheel drive, it's pretty bang on. 4-wheel drive, it feels very similar to a Deval, but more counter steering. So you're actually sat on lock more than you would be with a Deval. The Deval doesn't really like sitting on big steering angle.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of reasons for that, to be honest. I think that's something you can tune in for sure on the Deval, but
I haven't managed it yet.
but I think you need to tune your car like I tune my cars, rather than the way you tune your cars, and then I think it'll definitely work. I've looked. It's something I looked at 2 in Japan, and they've both done the one thing I do that you haven't done, which I'll tell you about later.
Just tell me now. Share it with the world.
Crossing chassis. I don't want the body on. No, actually, you can probably talk about the body while I just double check that you haven't done what I think you haven't done, just in case you've
What do you need to check?
your front geometry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've had a revamp of your body.
I did have a revamp of this body,
Not a major one, not a massive overhaul.
but the internet seems to like it, which is weird. A lot of full-size drifters going, "Oh my god, that looks amazing!" It's just like, wow, it's like a battered old shell that have just kind of, because it's all split. And
Kind of
stuff,
added more stuff onto
I
it.
just stuck more stuff to it, and everybody's gone wahoo. So yeah, that's that. We've gone what front geometry. Overdose Deval, everybody.
You have a problem down here. So,
Oh, yeah, I wondered why that wheel was locking up.
yeah, that won't be ideal. Yeah, essentially,
How have I done that then?
yeah, more caster. You're running next to no caster.
That's maximum.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
How is it not?
Think about it. Think about it.
Are you
Give
on
them
about? Are you on about the mounts and the knuckles?
No. If you move your lower arms forward and if you move your top arms back by flipping them, you'll have probably 12 degrees more caster. See?
Oh
yeah.
yeah. It's actually
It's not very much at all.
look at the positions of the arms.
Yeah.
So it's in the
Almost.
knuckle.
Well, either way, you just need to run more caster. But you need to run. If you run significantly more caster, it'll work a lot nicer. Just my gut feeling. I've not done it. I don't know.
I will try that. And what's that bit?
Don't know. But let's move on. So what else we got? What else is new for this week? I think we've got bodies. You've started working on your new body, haven't you?
I haven't. Oh yeah, I suppose I have.
There
I've
you
cut
go.
some body shells out. I got a screw backed out. I started working on bodies by chopping some
Is,
bodies
it, is this Euros bodies, or is this just fun body?
I don't know. I don't know till I drive it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have got a couple of 8086s, the Hayashi
Both
11,
Yokomo, the Hayashi 11 and the Mercury Sunrise.
and I have butchered the pair of them to make something that should look like my actual real drift car. So I'm going to experiment with that so I can decide what I want to do with the actual real car. But that's assuming I can put it all together in a way that
And make it work, yeah.
doesn't look like a massive
Or make it
massive
super
bodge.
floppy.
It'll be super flappy for sure, but that'll be my steering.
Yeah. What else is there? Something shiny and silver.
Oh yeah, this thing. I have one of these again, which is a rmx-d VIP, non-HT. One of our customers who had converted to HT
From my old chassis.
from your old chassis had a bunch of spare parts, like the gearbox cases and knuckles and things like that. We had a bunch of stuff laying around from previous chassis,
Like the SSG. And
yeah, like the SSG carbon and things like that weren't doing anything and kind of going to waste. So I thought, I know, I'll buy those parts
make a chassis.
for a reasonable money and just put a triple X together because I like triple X's. So yeah, I don't know. I might keep it. I might move it on, but either way, I'm building a triple X VIP, and
I think you've got to run it for a bit.
I probably will, to be honest.
Just to relive the Triple X.
Relive the dream.
Yeah.
They're a good chassis, man. Triple X is still one of my favourite chassis.
I think I'll end up with another one.
But you know, I definitely, I don't know, if obviously I got another one, it'd be the HT. I wouldn't revert to the VIP on purpose.
No.
But having a VIP is not a bad thing because, you know, that's, I mean, these, when we first got these, we were just over the moon, weren't we? So, oh, wow, it's amazing.
It's what we started winning trophies with.
Indeed, indeed. Trophies that are behind your head.
Some of these ones.
Yeah, check us out, blood.
I'm not as good as the weatherman thing.
Yeah. But anyway, I've got one of those, so I'm pretty happy about that. It's silver and silver with some black bits, and hopefully that'll be reasonably decent when I finish putting it together.
Yeah, just
I've
need
got
to
a rear
find a few
bump on
bits.
it.
Need to find a few little bits to get it finished for sure. I need to not drop it.
Well, I did have some of the other bits, but I've been helping customers, which is
Should've
always
been
the
more
bane.
selfish, man.
I know, it's one of the banes of having your own place, though, isn't it? It's like, oh, my customer broke something here, have mine, you know.
Yeah.
I feel responsible for their
We had
Fun
an
times.
incident like that yesterday. Unfortunately, we had a customer down here with an HPI, and he managed to break quite a crucial part that we've got no chance of helping with. He managed
That
to
sucks.
guess the part he managed to break. Never seen it happen before. I'll give you a clue. His rear belt was too tight.
that weird tensioner thing.
Nope.
The belt,
Nope.
the diff pulley,
Nope.
the motor.
Nope. The main shaft snapped in half.
No way.
No.
The main shaft.
It was very tight, and I did tell him when he got here. I had a look at his car. I said that's way too tight, and he had no option to change the tension because he's customised a few things. But I've never seen it before where it had so much tension on the belt. Well, he said he heard a weird noise after about an hour of driving, and he heard it was like a metallic noise, but he couldn't work out what it was because everything looked right. And I think what happened because it snapped where the pin goes through. So there's a
It
hole.
took a while to collapse.
I think it did the first half, and then the second half.
Wow.
But yeah, it was a new one. So unfortunately, we don't have anything that work because HPI use 4mm blade shafts, and then
And we're all 5mm.
5s, and they're also a very
Although that
different
is
size.
a 4mm in there, is it not?
No,
That is. That's 4mm.
money, yeah. But either
Or
way,
a 3.5.
that's not anywhere near the right size, and it's in my chassis. That I've
Yeah, I
just put together.
know. It's just making fun. Yeah, so, you know, are you doing your body for the Euros?
Hopefully,
We're going to talk about the Euros because everyone is. You know.
yeah. Well,
It's-
the worlds.
coming
The
soon.
worlds.
The worlds.
The worlds now.
The Euro worlds. The
Sure.
Euros. Worlds? What do we
Euros.
call it? Whatever.
It's
Are you doing one?
probably if I get time. If I get time to put it. If I do, I'm not going to do anything crazy. There's people that
Is it going to be an FC?
possibly. I have two options at the moment. One is an FC and one's a PS13.
This is the best sticker in RC drifting. I'm just going to point this out. Russia on tour. Daniel Semenov, where are you? And now he's going to be sitting there with us talking about him, going, Why would you do that? How would you do that?
Yeah. So we, I don't know. I've got to decide if I'm going to do a body. I'm not great at making bodies. I don't pretend that I am. So I'm not. If
You're not bad though.
If I do make one, it won't be going for best body for sure, because there's people like Tom and
Oh God, compared to like
Simon and those guys that just different world to me. Like I don't have the patience or the time or the skill to do anything that they're doing. So if I make a body, it'll be because I want something to look cool, not because I'm going to try and win a trophy with it. Because that ain't going to happen.
I need to have a go at trying to do best chassis again. I was really happy with that, but I don't know if this is just. I think Taj judged it last year, and Taj isn't. He doesn't care about brand. He cares about what you do that looks balanced and complete and well put together. So the brand and how much you spent is, kind of irrelevant really. But yeah, so Taj might be, if he's judging again, he'll be put off this because it's like, oh, just there's overdose everywhere.
You just smash some money at it even.
I think he's just jealous. I don't think that's what it is. Last year it was fine. He was blue collar. He was for the people. And this year, if I don't win, then it's going to be because he's jealous. But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, from me, that's what you're up against.
Should we get some questions?
The Deval, the purple prop, usually it's mullet. Sure, we might as well. We've waffled enough.
Mike Rogers has asked, can you explain the process of how you paint the window surrounds in your shells instead of using the decal supplied? Yes, we can.
I think you're going to say decal surprise.
There's two ways we can do this. Firstly, have a look at the Solar RC blog, because I did a post on how I paint a body, and that includes photos at the different stages of doing it. But you grab your body, or you grab my body, or whatever, and explain how you do it.
Go do what?
Nice.
So anyway, you basically just, for example, you wouldn't pull all the backing film off.
Well, before you get to that point, you paint the body as normal.
Paint the body as normal.
Yeah.
Leave all your masking on the inside on, so you don't get overspray on there, and then literally just remove the film from the parts that you want to mask, and mask the outside of the body, so just the inner and outer frames. We generally use a very light coating of PS5 black.
Yeah.
And then PS55.
Although one thing I will say
clear.
is I actually think from now on I'll be using PS23 instead of black.
The gunmetal.
Because I think it looks a bit more realistic. I think black looks like a new car and PS23 looks like an older car, and generally all of the bodies are painted.
That's a fairly reasonable way of putting it.
It's a bit like a faded rubber rather than just the rubber surrounds.
Well, technically it should be like a darker grey really, shouldn't it? Yeah. Like a very dark grey. But then
on the car, but yeah.
Because on a real car, it's sort of like that kind of mottled. It's black, faded, a little grey. But then with black, like on a Sylvia, for example, on the back window, you've got the black actually in the glass, which is much blacker than the black of the surround. So
it all depends on the car, but essentially all you're doing is painting on the outside of the body, and you're just painting anything that's not masked. So you need to make sure that you match the shape very well, because I've seen a couple of people that have tried it, and they haven't matched the curve of the corner. They've kind of had an oversight where it's just
like a little bit square,
a bit jaggedy, which you need to be very careful with. I mean, I just use Tamiya masking tape, and I use
Tamiya
lots of lines.
3M.
Essentially, for me, I'll just use lots of lines until there's a regular curve, because if you mask the curve, you then need to make sure it's pressed down perfectly.
Yeah. I blade them, so I'll for example, on the corner.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll put a piece of I'll put a piece of tape over it.
You're doing it off camera, I think.
I'll put a piece of tape over the corner there, for example,
and then cut the shape.
And then cut that shape.
In that situation, I would. Yeah. So you just need. Essentially, I'll always over tape and remove a little bit, but I try and remove as little as I can.
Yeah.
Because I'm crap at cutting out with a blade.
Use a sharp blade. If you use a dull blade, you have to
don't press too hard. If you use a sharp blade and you press too hard, you'll just cut the body.
If you use a sharp blade and you press lightly, then you get a nice clean line. If you use a dull blade and you press hard, you'll get a crap line. And the tape edge will tear in little bits, and that'll be annoying.
Daryl has asked, do you have any camber gauges or scales that can be bought or borrowed whilst at the track? Currently, I think we're out of stock, but
yes.
We do have the new MST camber gauges arriving fairly soon when they're back in the factory.
Yeah, they're coming, and we do have corner weight scales.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Which have been put away, but we can get them out anytime anybody wants to know.
Where are they?
You tell me. You've tidied up. I keep struggling to find stuff. I'm going to guess in the box under the counter. But anyway, Akhtar. Hello, Akhtar.
What actor?
He said he's familiar with the theory of roll center and how it works and how to work it out, but he doesn't understand what the location of roll center does. Okay. For example, does it reduce if above the ground or below the ground, etc.? What changes have you guys made to your chassis to adjust roll center? I don't have a chassis. I can show you that one right now because it's mine's in pieces. Have you adjusted roll center? I don't think you have. Essentially,
Yes,
roll center
1
is
millimeter.
it's a race car engineering theory that is fully explainable but not visible. It's an imaginary point.
For me, in
essentially.
terms of drifting, it adjusts pitching speed, doesn't it?
No, you're getting confused. It's all about lateral loads.
Yeah, but that lateral load controls the pitching speed of the car.
Yeah, but it essentially what it does is it affects the way that the tyre will grip. And it affects lots of things, to be perfectly honest. And if you want to get technical, it works in conjunction with the centre of gravity of the chassis, and you have the moment arm. I think that's what it's called, which is the difference between the centre of gravity and the roll center. And there's lots of reading you can do online, and they'll probably explain it far better than I can. But essentially, if we use the back of this, which I don't even know if I can while I'm on camera, but the roll center is calculated from the lower arms and from the tyre contact patch. But the top arms may have a massive play, because essentially, if you look at a Formula 1 car, this is always the easiest way to explain it. If you look at a Formula 1 car, you've got the upper and lower wishbones. And normally what you'll find on a single-seater car is the angle will be something, try and get it right for the camera, something like that, where the lower arm will be slightly pointing down and the upper arm will be pointing down a lot more. And what that's doing is adjusting the roll center so that it's maximising the grip in all situations, essentially. For drift cars, that's not what you want.
Effectively, that as well, though, that governs the tyre roll as well.
Yes, exactly.
So
the
the roll of the tyre and actual, roll center are different. Different things. This is part of the problem with RC as well, though, because all these subjects are massively complex.
They can be the most incredibly complex things to go into, and you could probably spend 3 weeks reading about it and still not understand it properly.
There's people who spend their lives writing books about it, so if it's confusing,
I do have a good book
that's
taught
fine.
me about it, which is Race Car Engineering, but I forget the author, and that's not very helpful.
I think I know the book you mean. Is it the one with it's got a yellow cover?
No, it's a red cover. The one I've got very much a different edition. I'll find out what it is, and I'll mention it at some point in the next week or so.
But anyway, in simple terms, adjusting your roll center
adjusts lateral grip.
Adjust lateral grip. Yeah, that's a nice basic way of
there is lots of the problem is because it works in conjunction with other things. It's not as simple as moving it here gives you this. So for me, you need to play around with it. But the thing that I've done, well, actually, you can probably see on this, you can really adjust your roll center here by moving the upper arm position. I don't know if that's even possible to see, but on the D-like chassis, you've got lots of options to move your upper arm. That changes more than just roll center, because if you move it towards the wheel, you're also reducing the length of your camber link, and reducing the length of your camber link will give you more camber change on roll. So you may give yourself more grip with roll center, but you may reduce grip by having more camber change, essentially.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's something you need to play around with, and probably not something we can answer in a brief response to a question. There's also a lot of room to get confused and mixed up with it as well if you use the wrong angle.
Because the problem is, it's not as simple as saying if you have a very low roll center, it's going to be very stable.
Yeah. Because
that's not necessarily true, depending on the other settings, because it could have terrible settings and wash all over the place. Which is to say as well that if you've got a high roll center, it doesn't mean it's going to drive good or bad.
Essentially, you have to find the roll center setting that combines well with your other settings, because you can you can have a very high roll center, and you can have a very high center of gravity, and you can generate more grip than if you have lower, if your settings are set up to utilize that. You know, if your tires are suited to a lot of camber roll, then having a lot of camber change is a good thing anyway. But the roll center may or may not contribute to that, depending on how it.
It's a very
works with
specialized thing to start to change.
It's something that's worth playing with. But the one thing I did on my Triple X that had a massive increase in grip with the settings I ran was I raised the inner upper arm link on the rear. So on the back of the car, I put a 3mm spacer in, I think, to raise the inner link on the gearbox.
Yeah.
Which essentially raised the angle of the arm.
However, I did the same thing, and it didn't work for me at all because of motor settings.
Yeah. So
there you go.
yeah, it's one of those things. Next question. Yeah,
Next question.
I'll get distracted thinking like that. Essentially, Actor, if you need more help, just send me a message, and I'll see if I can give you some links to help out. Because, like I say, it's not that easy to explain, especially when.
Well, there is the guide on our forum, which is
that's where we're
very good. So Max Speed Technology forum, if you want to Google that, and you'll find our forum, and we've got the suspension guide on there. It says basic, but it does even the basics. I cover all the basics.
They can get quite complicated anyway. Okay. Luke Pettigrew has asked, will Mitto be running rear-wheel drive again this year?
Will I be running rear-wheel drive again this year?
Yes.
No. No, I will. Yeah, I will. Not sure which chassis and when, but it's very likely to be an RMX. And as soon as I can afford one, I'm going to finish paying for bits for a Corolla.
Yes.
Full-size cars are greedy and they hog money, and every penny I have at the moment is going into making that work. I might run the Duval rear-wheel drive for a bit. Can't see why it wouldn't work.
Yeah, there's a few people doing that. So,
yeah.
He's also asked, we're going to see Triple Class again this year. We've already explained that earlier in the video, so hopefully you've seen that. And the possibility of team standings this year for the competition. They're probably not going to happen. Triple Class, we will probably record and log and have a championship for Triple Class for the teams. But in terms of regular drivers and team points, no, it's not going to work for us at the moment. It may be something we introduce later on, but it's a lot more admin, and
currently
there's people that join teams and leave teams, and
yeah, it's not a very nice thing for the scene at the moment. Yeah. I think just because we're all in this together, and we don't want to do something that kind of puts people in little groups too much,
creates too many rivalries, that kind of thing.
Cliquey, and
it can be fun. It can go too far very quickly. So also, it may be something we introduce later if there's enough demand. But currently, you're the first person who's asked for it. So
indeed. But either way, shout out to Zero Field. So thanks, Luke.
Also, Alex Barnacle has said he was going to ask about Triple Class. So again, hopefully he knows. He's considering starting some rear-wheel drive with the FXX-S and the IMG package in a couple of months. Is there anything worth upgrading on it straight away?
Dampers.
Dampers are worth having.
That's it. Dampers.
Turnbuckle set.
Could do that.
Yeah, but essentially just those two.
They literally, the only thing I changed on mine was dampers, and it was fun.
I think I would change the turnbuckle set before I did the dampers, because the dampers on FXXS are pretty good. Standard.
Yeah, they are better than the older RTR dampers, but even the RTR dampers now have changed.
Yeah. So. Bradley Burgess asked, he has a Yokomo DIB version 2. He sees Overdose make a slide rack for it. Is there any advantage or disadvantage to change from the standard setup? He runs CS and on carpet.
In the discussion, I think
we have the slide rack for the DIB here in stock. I don't know if you can see that. It's well worth changing. To be perfectly honest, and probably a little bit blunt, the standard steering rack on the DIB is, for me, the worst thing about the chassis. There is a new high-angle kit that I believe is a lot better, but I haven't personally tested that yet. Yeah. But the standard steering rack has a lot of play in it, and unless you do certain things, I found it tends to fall apart on a fairly frequent basis. You have to effectively modify it to make it.
The new one is substantially better. However, slide racks are
there's a bunch of adjustment in it. They work super smooth,
and it's Overdose, so the quality is just ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. So my tip would be get it. Absolutely. It's as I say, I haven't tested the new high angle kit, but don't expect it to be better than an overlace slide rack. But I could be wrong. I don't know.
I think they've tightened up the tolerance a lot.
Yeah.
Because Tunksy, who comes down here, is a Yokomo driver, and obviously he gets the new parts to test, and it is much better, substantially so. But I'd say there's definitely more drag in it than there is with a slide rack. So the slide rack is certainly much freer, but the new Yokomo system is very much improved.
That was cool. Next question. Andy King has asked, any pointers for a first timer in the competition?
Well, Andy King,
just crack on and enjoy it.
Enjoy
Take
it.
easy. My honest tips for people that are competing for the first time, and I'm not just talking about here, but any competition, is go in without too high expectations, and you will only be pleasantly surprised.
No, go in with one expectation, to have fun.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Don't
worry about anything else.
When you do your first couple of competitions, you're likely to be quite nervous. Even if you're used to competing in a sport where everybody stands and watches you, it's not. If you're relatively new to the hobby, you're going to be nervous. Except you're going to be nervous. Use the first competitions purely to get used to those nerves.
I thought you were about to say something like use the fear.
No, but I think it works pretty well if you just don't expect too much. And if you know, people like Ryan Royer came and did his first competition and finished 9th, I think, which isn't bad at all for your first competition.
Yeah. He enjoyed himself. So
I think he came in 10th first time, then 9th for the second competition. But he surprised everybody. Most people will do their first competition, and you may not qualify. You may not come top 16. You may come quite low in the top 16.
Competitions
doesn't matter. It's your first competition.
An extension of learning. It's just a way to say we're going to change the track now. There's no it doesn't determine where you are in terms of your driving, because
you can
there's
make
so many
one
other
mistake
factors
that can knock you out of the competition.
Yeah. Well, there's a million incredible drivers out there that are bloody awful in competitions.
Yes.
Me. But that it doesn't matter as long as you're out there having fun, and just enjoying what you're doing, and that's all that's important, really.
Next question is from Tom Hampton.
Tom Hampton.
He's asked 2 questions. You see people running their shocks upside down. What are the benefits of doing so? It changes your unsprung weight a little bit, or as I always refer to it, semi-sprung because it's on the arm. But
semi.
It can create clearance. I've run them on my RMX. My rear shocks are upside down because I needed a bit of clearance at the top for something I was doing when I was in Japan, and I hadn't changed them back. It can actually reduce clearance depending on where they're positioned.
It also promotes roll.
Yes, because of the weight change. Also,
and obviously the actuation of the damper is different.
Yeah,
like upside down shocks. In short, your shocks generally fit both ways up, so try it.
Give it a go.
Suck it and see.
Part 2 of his question, or his second question, is name a few things you like about using ball diffs. Have your driving standards improved since moving out to them? Driving standards haven't improved, but
now this is a funny one because currently we're running rear ball diffs,
yes,
not front ball diffs, and not dual ball diffs,
yes,
as in ball diff on both. So I would say for what you gain, you also lose. So you gain in rear snapping, you catch easier. So when you hit the brake and snap out, you'll catch that much easier. However, the snapping is slower. Your actual physical forward drive is slower.
Because there is essentially a moment while the diff gains grip.
Yeah, exactly. There's a delay in there. So you gain and you lose. However, a ball diff, if it's set up right, is very consistent.
For me, I think you gain the ability to make more frequent and smaller adjustments. You can make lots of small adjustments, not necessarily corrections, but adjustments to your drive. You can utilize traction better, and I don't think my standards have improved, but my understanding of my driving has improved. And I don't know whether that's just because it coincided with me going to Japan, or whether it's part of the ball diff thing as well. But I now am where I have more options, and I can go to a track and I can put a ball diff in if I feel I need a ball diff, or I can put a spool in if I feel I need a spool, or I can put a one-way in if I feel I need a one-way. And I know what those things are going to do. I've got a better understanding of how everything works, and I've got a better understanding of when you need each option.
Yeah.
There are certain times I wouldn't use a ball diff, but there's not many, to be perfectly honest.
Well, the one that goofed me was on PTAR shift.
Yeah.
Shift circuit. I was running a ball diff, and I was pretty sure that the ball diff was going to be fast. And I was driving, couldn't really keep up, and everyone's like, "Oh, why are you running a ball diff? Everyone uses spool here." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I didn't actually change to a spool. I was lazy. I just cranked my ball diff up, and yeah, immediately found a bunch of speed. So it doesn't always work, because obviously the theory would be that, oh, it's a slippy surface, a ball diff will be the fastest, but no, completely wrong. So
things in a situation like that, it may have been other factors with the chassis that made that the case, but they
true, but that was like the general thing. That was run a spool instead of a ball.
I can't remember what. I think I was running a ball diff by that point. I can't remember.
I can't remember. Next question.
Next question. I think that might be our last question. Although I believe there's probably. In fact, give me a moment.
Just a moment. Just a moment, please. We're waiting for Mr. James. I don't know what accent that was.
I have to just dig in and find stuff. Just bear with me. I think it says we're live.
Don't watch us live. You don't need to push play.
No.
Oh, you paused it.
Okay. The question on YouTube is, what are your thoughts on trail and caster settings? I think we may have covered.
From who?
Somebody called Clutch Kick Technician.
Clutch Kick Technician.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. Are there any particular differences from both of them? And what kind of knuckles would you need to adjust your trail? There's lots of people that make knuckles that allow you to adjust your trail. But we did, I'm sure we talked about this before. I'm sure we answered this in the previous video when we talked about it being similar to KPI in the way that it changes the actuation.
I think we have talked about this.
In that case, we'll do a quick, short one. Essentially, caster affects your. What the hell are you doing?
I don't know.
Caster affects your steering on lock, and essentially, the more lock you're running, the more impact you have. And trail, depending on how extreme you go, can affect it and neutralize it in different ways.
Because it's trail, you'll lead, isn't it? So
yeah,
you can lead and neutralize caster, but alter your scrub.
Yes, and alter other things with it as well.
Oh Jesus, it's complex.
Yeah. It's, to be perfectly honest, it's not something I've played loads.
In short,
try
it, and there are various knuckles available.
Yes,
to try with. Personally, I
haven't played around with it much yet.
I think unless you are at a very high level, it's slightly unnecessary. So you can mess around with it. You don't need to.
No.
Don't need to.
I think it's worth everyone who is interested in playing with it.
I think it'd be more beneficial for rear-wheel drive.
Possibly. I haven't got that far with it. I haven't played with trail. I have, but in very small changes. It's something that I'm not ready to play with. I don't think. I have no requirement to make that adjustment that I'm aware of yet.
I have
to a certain standard. That
ability to adjust trail on that. I am running a little trail.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you can add a little bit more sensation to the steering with it, but it doesn't. It's only a very small adjustment on the overdose, but it's not really something that's worth really getting into because it's comparative with other settings like caster and sort of your standard KVI. It's just not as beneficial.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things.
I think that's kind of done for today, which is pretty good.
We're all waffled out.
We're on an hour.
That's weird.
That is very weird.
Hour and 5 minutes.
No, for a little bit next time.
Were we?
Yeah.
So that's literally an hour.
I think so. Yeah. I think so.
Any more questions? You done Facebook questions?
I've done all the questions that I found.
That you found?
Yeah,
maybe
last time I said I've done all the questions.
Have we done the questions from the week we missed?
I think most of them have been re-asked. I will double check. But
Double checking.
this is where I'm finding out I'm completely wrong, and there's loads that we haven't.
Is this where the world can just watch me eat a cream egg while I wait for you?
No. Cream egg. No, that one's all covered. Let's try the next one. This is the problem. We get asked questions in all these different places, and
You design the system.
it's Facebook. Facebook doesn't let you see stuff if we post it on the page, so we post it in the group. So then it's in the post, it's in the group and on the page. And it's just not good. 1 second, nearly there. Well, we get a lot of stuff. Okay, we've got a question there. Any chance the gyro in the the S kit will be upgraded to the new version? Unlikely.
Unlikely it'll be the upgraded version.
Yeah, just because the upgraded version does
Who
cost
was
a
that?
lot more. That was from Taj. Hi, Taj.
Hi, Dash.
Are you on there? I don't know if we might have already asked these, but we'll go through them anyway. Martin Hansen has asked, are you guys coming for the grand opening of the Cookies Drift Lounge? Maybe just get Jens to pay for our airfare.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm going. Jens is paying.
5-star hotels, yes. Pretty much.
It's Casa de Jens that we'll be staying at. That is pretty much 5-star.
Boiler, son. Okay, Taj has asked another question. Rear-wheel drive related. FRF versus CSR tyres in the front, and CSR versus J26 in the rear. What are your opinions on them?
They're all round and black.
I think it's a tuning thing. I think you pick the ones that work for your settings. FRFs work for a lot of people on the front. With my last foray into rear-wheel drive, I actually found I preferred the CSRs on the front because of the settings that I had, and I preferred the GAs on the rear. But now, as you can see, I'm generally running CSRs all round on my four-wheel drive chassis, and might be the same on rear-wheel drive.
Incidentally, all the guys that were running sort of rounded, skinny, 20mm wide wheels and all that sort of thing in Japan are now just running like
That's a fad.
normal tires. Yeah, it's just a bit of a fad. I think it looks weird.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, that's kind of us done. The rest of the questions were mostly about our technical failure and lack of kettle.
Lack of kettle?
Yeah.
Oh, for cups of tea here.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to give you hot water. It's against our insurance.
Our insurance is perfect in every way for our business, apart from that one thing.
Yeah. Which is annoying because I like cups of tea and I like coffee very much. We're allowed to have a vending machine. So if anyone wants to buy or donate one to us,
yep,
because we can't afford it, well, we could, but then we just
we can afford it, but we wouldn't eat for a month and we wouldn't have any stock to sell it.
So yeah, if anyone wants to do that, anyone from Costa Coffee watching that has got a spare
or any other brand that's
Starbucks or not those Nescafe ones.
Anyway,
they suck.
Anyway, let's move on. Let's wrap it up. We've got stuff to do.
Wrap up.
So
we've still got wrap up.
We will have wrap up again soon.
Indeed,
we will have more.
So yeah, that's waffle time.
Waffle time.
That's us speaking enough Busak for now.
We're getting ready for the competition.
Like and favourite this shit.
Hopefully,
become a Viking today.
You can't just steal somebody's catch line, man.
Yeah, but I give him credit every time. Go and look at Rob as he's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically,
if Rob has knows who credit.
Shut up and let me tell him. We've got. We're getting ready for the competition. So if you haven't booked in, get yourself booked in, and we'll see you.
If we don't answer the phone, it's because we're on the floor, like making things work.
Possibly.
But we will answer the phone. It's what we do.
Anyway, bye for now.
Have a Karula.
Have fun.